Chapter 3. Marissa sized up a gangly boy approaching on a bike. He looked familiar, so she guessed he was Rene. He wore dress pants, like the kind her father put on for church, and a plaid button-down shirt with the shirt tail tucked in. His eyeglasses were slightly bent on his face. As he pedaled, she made out white socks with 3 red stripes near the top. Dang, the boy's a nerd, she thought. Was he really the same one who had been with Roberto? Hi, Rene squeaked after he kicked a leg over the bar and glided his bike into the patchy lawn in front of the school. He brought a handkerchief from his pocket and swabbed his face. I got here in... He peered at the large watch on his skinny wrist. In 23 minutes. I would have gotten here sooner, but I had to stop for the construction. He extended a sweaty hand. I'm Rene Torres. Marissa shook his hand, which appeared to have just enough strength to lift pencils and pens, but nothing heavier. She was mystified. She had shaken hands with adults, but never with someone her own age, and it felt strange. It's a pleasure to meet you, he said, his head bowing slightly. She gawked at him. This guy didn't talk like a kid. She sensed that her mouth hung open, but she couldn't help herself. How was your day? Rene asked. How was my day? She thought. This boy is muy wimpy. Still, she answered without a hint of sarcasm. Okay, I guess, and quickly added, how come you're tutoring Roberto? If he was going to try to make conversation, she might as well do her part. Because he needs help, Rene explained. I like it and I get paid. He plans to go into ROTC in college and then into the army, but he needs to retool the mechanical side of his brain. Roberto has a brain? Marissa almost blurted out. Instead, she asked, how come you were hanging with him? He was going to give me a ride to Office Depot. More pens for this guy's shirt pocket, she thought snidely. She caught herself being mean and didn't like it. Rene stuffed his handkerchief into his front pocket. He shifted his gaze from her face to the front of the school. 2 boys were digging their hands into a bag of potato chips. A girl on her cell phone was yelling, You lying girl, you snatched it without paying a damn dime. Sneaking a quick smoke, a janitor had his hands cupped around a cigarette. Marissa could tell that the nerd wasn't familiar with their kind of school. One was security guards who themselves looked like thugs. She felt a little embarrassed at the yellow lawn, the torn blinds in the front windows, and the steps splattered with old gum. The American flag was hoisted only halfway due to a problem with the broken chain that hauled it up, and gave the impression that the school was in mourning. Someone or something had died, perhaps something called hope. Roberto wants to be an army officer, Marissa asked. If he was such a good guy, why did he cheat on Alicia? She would have thrown out the question, but heard someone shriek from the front steps. Who's that, Einstein? A crew of girls bent over, holding their sides, laughing. Come down here and say that. We can chunk right here, Marissa barked. Her hands curled into fists, then uncurled, each of her long fingernails like daggers. The girls moved, but none stopped laughing. They guffawed and did a dance around the backpacks at their feet. My school is sick, Marissa grumbled. I wish I went to a different one. There it was. She had thought it often, but never said it. Don't worry about me, Rene said. People are always picking on me. Marissa winced at his admission. They wouldn't pick on you if I was around. They would show you some respect. She was surprised by her proclamation. She hadn't known the nerd more than 5 minutes, and yet she was defending him. She would tell that he was shorter than she by an inch or 2, and certainly a lot skinnier. The buckle was on his belt's last hole. Rene was touched. That's very nice of you. Come on, Marissa beckoned. She was curious about Rene. He was so different from the homeboys she knew. Rene turned his bike around and walked down the street, with potato chip bags, smashed paper cups, and hamburger wrappers scuttled in the wind. Cars passed with radios blaring and the driver shouting over the songs. Marissa led Rene to a small park where they sat on the grass. A woman bundled up in 3 sweaters was feeding pigeons. A sea of pigeons the color of cement followed her as she tossed seeds to the left, then the right. Here, before I forget, Rene brought out her cell phone from his fanny pack. You got a couple of calls, but I didn't answer them. I believe strongly in privacy. That's why I'm so against the policies of our country. Privacy is becoming scarce. What's he talking about? Marissa wondered. Does he always talk like this? Like right now, we assume we have privacy, but if the Secret Service wanted, they could listen to our conversation. We ain't said anything, Marissa argued, but it was usually she who was the chatterbox. But she found herself growing quiet. A leaf floated down from the maple tree and settled on her knee. She flicked the leaf from the knee, stood up, and brought Rene's cell phone from her pocket. What's so important about privacy anyway? My mom doesn't give me any privacy. She'll come in and check my drawers to see if I have drugs and stuff. Rene looked disbelieving. He licked his lips, assembled some nerve by puffing up his muscle, depleted his chest, and started to ask, "You don't do—" "Chale! I don't do drugs. All I'm saying is—" She thought, "What am I saying? Why are we talking about stupid stuff?" Suddenly, her anger began to cook inside her. But was that heated cauldron going to spill onto a boy who wore white socks and carried a handkerchief? He didn't deserve it. Another leaf floated downward in a seesaw motion and settled on Renee's bony kneecap. Renee took the leaf between her thumb and index finger and twirled it. "It's the size of life for this leaf." Marissa seized the leaf from Renee and was about to crumble it when she was struck by the cruelty of her thoughts. "He's so skinny, skinnier than Roberto. He should eat more, work out with weights. Man, this guy's a genuine nerd." "You think I should go?" Renee stood up and leaned over to pick up his bicycle. Another leaf slowly descended from the tree and hooked itself in Renee's curly hair. "You're kind of silly, you know," Marissa remarked. Her anger had disappeared, and so had her brooding thoughts. She had had a hard day at school, a C on a math quiz, and a C minus that was almost a D on a history exam. She had figured that this was the source of her grumpiness, and that had nothing to do with the boy sitting next to her. "I would describe myself as occasionally preposterous, but never silly," he countered. "I know people laugh at me. Are you laughing at me?" "No way," Marissa crowed. "It's okay if you are. I'm straight up. I ain't laughing." The woman with the pigeon feed passed them with pigeons parading behind. The twirled leaves and Marissa pulled her hair back from her ears, scooted a little closer to him. She would later debate with herself what that little gesture meant. But for now, she was enjoying the presence of this boy, whose bicycle was too big for him and whose eyeglasses were crooked on his cute small face. That night her father wolfed down his dinner, a second evening of albodingas. That was time with a salad drenched with a bottle of blue cheese dressing, and hurried out the front door with his bowling ball. It was Wednesday, when he played in his 35-year-old league, and there was a whistle in his lips. "Mom," Marissa said after he had done the dishes, and returned to the living room, wiping her hands on a dish towel. She could tell that her mother was in a good mood because she was listening to her favorite CD, Linda Ronstadt's Canciones de Mi Padre. "What?" her mother asked. She was seated on the couch with a blanket over her knees, reading an old People magazine. "Mom, I want to go to a new school," she said. Made this decision when she watched Renee ride away in an awkward, crooked path. He had no leg strength, no way to protect himself. True, she had Alicia to protect, but Renee really needed help, or he might be squashed like a bug. "Did you see Ricky Martin's mansion? He's got 7 bathrooms. Her mother's eyes were lit with excitement. "Wish we had 2 bathrooms. That wouldn't be asking too much." "Mom, I don't like my school." Her mother turned a page in the magazine and whistled at the sight of a blue pool overlooking the sea. "I wish he would invite me over for the barbecue and a swim." She licked a finger and turned another page. "My grades aren't so great, and I was thinking that if I used Aunt Sarah's address, I could go to Hamilton. I could get a transfer." She pointed northward, where Hamilton Magnet High School was located among nice homes. "It's a much better school." Her mother put down her magazine and sat up. Ricky Martin's 7 bedrooms went with the toilet in a large surge. "What are you saying?" "About going to a new high school. I hate mine. Everyone's into drugs and stuff. There's this freshman girl named Jasmine who even got pregnant. And you?" The question was calm yet serious. Her mother sat up straight with the magazine on her lap. "Nah, Mom," she replied, although she could see Ricky Martin's perfect smile on the cover of the magazine. Marissa couldn't share in his happiness for his 7 bathrooms or the pool that could probably fit all of her 9th grade class. His smile seemed completely fake. Then why? "I don't know. Maybe it could do better." Marissa imagined herself sitting up in class and really listening to her English teacher. She could see Renee in the corner, his hand up, because he was the one with a mouth full of answers. "How are you going to get to that school from here?" Marissa prepared. "You can take me when you go to work." Her mother worked part-time as a receptionist at a real estate office. It was a job that required her to spend her hours in front of a photocopy machine. She was the one who cradled the phone receiver in her neck and greeted, "Green River Realty, how may I help you?" Her mother's gaze wandered over the soft landscape of Marissa's young face, searching for clues of mischief. "I don't understand you," her mother tried. "There's nothing to understand, Mom. We can use Auntie Sarah's address to get a transfer. Our drinking fountains don't work, and almost none of the toilets flush." Marissa was shivering slightly, though the living room was anything but cold. It was the shiver of something close to fear, yet not fear. "Are you in trouble at school?" her mother asked. No, Mom, there ain't no drama. Is it because of Roberto? Heck no, she told her mother, bristling at the mention of his name. Then what, mija? She sat next to her mother, but didn't unbutton her heart. She squeezed her mother's hand. Please, you'll see, I need to go to a better school. Marissa's mother brushed her daughter's hair with her fingers. We want you to do good in life. I want to do good too. What do you think? Marissa asked with a begging quiver in her voice. I think we can give Tia a call, her mother finally said. Marissa hugged her mother, crushing the face of Ricky Martin in the magazine. You are the best, Mom. Marissa was going to explain to her mother her strategy about becoming a better student when she heard her cell phone ring in the bedroom. She found herself jumping up and running to get it, hoping to answer before her abrupt recording message came on. Hey, she greeted. This is Renee. Renee who? Marissa asked roughly, her front teeth but her lower lip. She sounded cruel. Oh, God, I'm sorry for sounding so forthright, Renee complimented her. So what? Oh, you know, direct and honest, Renee giggled and jokingly announced. I'm looking for new students for my tutoring business. You want to hire me? It's 2 lessons for the price of 1 this week. Marissa pictured the two of them hunkered together over a large math textbook. You think I'm dumb, huh? No, Renee protested. I just wanted a call. Oh, she mumbled. Silence. Are you done with your homework? Renee finally said. Done? She hadn't even pulled it out of her backpack and wasn't sure if she would bother since she was going to start a new school. Oh, yeah, it's almost done, she lied. She was nervous, aware that this was the first time she had ever got a call from a boy. She nibbled on her hair, spat it out, and blurted, Guess what school I'm transferring to?